Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Mona's Rants. I am your host, Mona Sheikh, you guys. How was the weekend? Is it just me? Do you guys do this where you just, if you don't have anything to do, so you just work all weekend? Is that a thing, or is that just for people with no lives like myself? Is that a thing? Okay. All right, I think it's just me. I must confess, though, Saturday, I went out with a friend, got a little loaded, and then smoked the doobies. And that was how I spent my Saturday, so it was good. But you guys, I am back today with the great returning guest. And always a pleasure to have him, because we want to talk about, have the Republicans completely lost their freaking minds? 70% of Republicans believe in the falsehood that Biden was elected with not enough votes. I shit you not. This is a poll that was taken, and this is what the Republicans believe. And I want to know, is bipartisanship actually dead, and did the Republicans kill it? Here to discuss it further is my very talented friend, Johnny Wendell. How are you?
I'm good, Mona. I'm
Johnny
glad you had a
Wendell?
good weekend.
Yeah. Good weekend. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. How was your weekend, Johnny? Did you drink and smoke? What'd you do?
I don't drink or smoke, so it wasn't as colorful as yours.
All right, Johnny, we got it.
No, I don't. I walk the straight and narrow path. Yeah, which is good, because then I don't end up like your cucumber friend stuck in a fence.
Yeah, that's not my friend. That's just
He's just an acquaintance.
Just an acquaintance, just a neighbor. One of those Tinder swipe rights. Anyway,
are you going to explain to people what I meant by that? You can't.
I'm not. Maybe I can share a picture and they'll understand it. But if you go on my Facebook page, on my profile page, I posted a lovely image of a cucumber where just the front tip of it is tied up in barbed wire.
But it was growing out through the wire. Yes,
it was growing out through the wire, and I wrote, "When he just wants to get the tip in," and that was the quote.
Oh yeah, that got big laughs here.
Thank you. I aim to please Johnny Wendell.
However, it should be pointed out, that if the answer to that is no, that's all of it, then you're having sex with a Republican. So
that's correct. That's right. That is right. And
only the tip.
Only the tip, and that's a great
segue for that.
Precisely, because we know that Matt Gaetz, finally went out with his high school sweetheart while she's in high school.
Right.
And that's what he said. Just the tip to her, also. But speaking of Republicans, Johnny Wendell,
and speaking of tips, don't have sex with them.
Speaking of tips, speaking of dicks and tips, those are not the people you want to have sex with. Johnny, have the Republicans completely lost their effing mind? The fact that they're 70%, there's a poll on CNN, 70% of Republicans believe, 70%, that's a big number, that Biden won without enough vote. What is happening, Johnny? Is bipartisanship actually just killed by Republicans? What the hell is happening in this country?
So young and so naive is my friend Mona. That's the sweetest
thing a man has ever said to me, Johnny.
Okay. I'll leave it at that. You're the comedian here, and I am but the straight man. With unencumbered by cucumber in fence.
That's correct. Literally and figuratively. Yeah.
All right. It's like this. Biden was Barack Obama's vice president for 2 terms.
Yes.
And he saw firsthand that at this point, there is no percentage in a Republican cooperating with a Democrat. He knows this. A Republican that is too friendly with Democrats gets all kinds of abuse heaped on them by the right-wing media, which pretty much drives everything that their base believe. And so it's not worth doing, especially when if Democrats pass a piece of legislation that the public really likes, like the COVID relief bill, was 80% popularity.
Yeah.
Republicans in Congress and in the Senate who voted against it are taking credit for it. Okay, so they figure my people, all they know is what they hear on talk radio or what they see on Fox or OAN or Newsmax or the trillions of blogs,
right?
All of which are vying for an ever shrinking number of listeners, viewers, and subscribers. And when you talk about 70% of Republicans, what you have to realize is that's about 17% of the voters. Okay, so that means that 83% of the voters don't believe that. The Republican Party now is at one of its lowest percentage of registrations in a long, long time. And so 70% of Republicans is like, 70% of Republicans believe this. It goes back to the old joke about that's like being the number one surfer in Omaha. You know, who cares? You know, so 70% of Republicans believe something. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Also, it
doesn't make a difference. You don't think it makes a difference?
It doesn't. That makes no difference. Look, if you were to query these people face to face, let's say not just face to face as you and I are now, but let's say face to face, like at the gym, in the laundromat, in a bar, in a saloon. Let's say I'm playing the saloon down the street where you came to see me, right?
Yeah.
And so and there's some couple of Republicans are there. I don't know why they would be, but they're there, and they were like, "Well, you're kind of a left winger," or whatever they would say, to try to provoke me. And I go, "Yeah, it's true." And I go, "So y'all are Republicans?" Yeah. And I said, "You really, really believe in your heart of hearts and with your theoretically working brains that Donald Trump got more votes than Biden did? They didn't lose by 7 million votes, that he didn't lose in 5 swing states that Trump is screaming about?" I would say to them, measure your answers carefully. Okay, because if you say something really stupid that you heard on social media, on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, I'll tear you to pieces. I do know my stuff. Okay, so as be forewarned, I actually, I'm not a complete idiot. I'm a partial idiot. Hence I wouldn't have gotten stuck in the fence, but I'm not a complete idiot. So I wouldn't take that poll that seriously. It's certainly not to be taken lightly either, because it sort of tells us that these are people who, despite the fact that they are theoretically over the age of 18, because you have to be 18 to vote in the United States, they're infantile. They can't accept reality.
Right.
The most insane example of this is the lunacy that's going on in Arizona right now, which, to explain to people who may not understand what that means.
Right.
The state of Arizona, the Republican Party is dominant in that state, and their state Senate or legislature, one of those two, maybe both, said that they would acquiesce to the desire of the Trump campaign and allow Maricopa County's ballots to be recounted. Maricopa County is where Phoenix is, the 2.1 million voters in Maricopa County. Biden carried Maricopa County by a small amount, but that small amount was the margin of victory. So Maricopa County is critical. This group, I think they're called cyber genies or something. They're QAnon believers.
Jeez.
They are hardcore lunatic right-wingers who have never done a ballot count before. And mind you, they've counted the ballots in Arizona and in Maricopa County numerous times. They are now, finally, a judge in Arizona had enough and said, okay, you're going to have to be watched by somebody because we don't want you tampering or destroying ballots. So they got some people, nonpartisan people, and some Democratic Party people, some sane Republicans, and they're watching now so they don't destroy the ballots. Apparently, Trump is sitting around and every 45 minutes is asking somebody, how are we doing in Arizona? Mona, Arizona has been decided. Their 11 electoral votes are Joe Biden's. That cannot be reversed, period. There's no mechanism for it to be reversed. Secondly, that would leave Biden with 295 electoral votes. Let's say that they decided to flip Maricopa County and Trump wins Arizona, which, by the way, he's not going to do.
Sure.
All right, now Biden is 295. All right, so he's got 25 over. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, James. The cyber ninjas, it's like they're ridiculous.
So creative,
like
Johnny. It's so creative. Why don't they just call them the nunchucks idiots? It's just
more like the upchuck idiots. That's an American expression, means to throw up.
Johnny, I've been in America long enough to know what upchuck means, but thank you.
Just in case, just checking.
Thank you.
Well,
just checking if I'm still too immigrant. Okay.
That's right. That's my good God. You could smell the Papa Dooms sweating out of her. It's just like, okay, so what they are hoping for, apparently, is to overturn the results in Arizona, which they won't do, and the electors are not going to change their votes. Also, Biden has been inaugurated. He's president of the United States until he is either removed, passes away, or is defeated,
right,
and ends up out of work in January of 2025. Okay.
Right.
What they're hoping for is a miracle, or what they really want is to tamper with enough ballots, which is they can't do because they're on camera now. They want to go from there to Georgia, to New Hampshire, to Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, I guess Nevada also, and overturn this election. It's not going to happen, but what they are trying to do is they're trying to push the debate into, we want to be able to manipulate the results of future elections if we don't like them. Okay, so that's what they're hoping to do. But the thing is that, as has been pointed out, there was a spirited debate somewhere the other day about the midterms in 2022. And someone said, generally in the midterms, the party in power gets crushed, but we're in such unusual times right now that it is entirely possible that not only will the Democrats prevail, but you may see 1 in 10 Republicans flip. If that happens, it's a burial. Okay. Look, Biden won by about 4.5 points. Okay, which is a decent win. It's not enormous. If he'd won by 9, we'd be better off. Okay, but he won by 4.5. If in the midterms the Democrats do about as well as they did in 2018, and they get about, they win by 9-10%, something like that, Republicans are up craps creek. Because if Biden's health holds and the pandemic is history, and some of these bills that he is proposing end up putting millions and millions of people who would ordinarily take minimum wage jobs on good paying industrial jobs, rebuilding the power grid of the country and stuff like that, this infrastructure bill,
right,
you'll see 4 to 6% growth annually between now and election day in 2024. The Republicans could exhume Christ and run him against Biden, and he'd lose by 15 points. It's like Americans.
Wait, Jesus is going to lose to Biden? Is that what you just said?
Well, for one thing, Jesus wasn't white, so that doesn't help, Republicans have a hard time
Johnny,
voting for
you
non-white.
and I both know damn well Jesus was not white. Jesus was
I know he wasn't.
He was immigrant.
He was a Palestinian.
He was a Palestinian, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Johnny,
he looked like Yasser Arafat. I point that out, and it drives so-called Christians out of their minds. I go, why is it your Jesus looks like a ski instructor from Zurich or something? Like, where'd you find this guy?
Their Jesus looks like Hitler's wet dream is what the fuck he looks like, and it's ridiculous.
To be perfectly fair, Eva Braun's wet dream. Let's keep the gender thing.
Okay, that's fine if that's what makes you happy, Johnny. Johnny, I want to share this video about Donald Trump crashing a wedding. I retweeted it.
I saw this. And
I gotta share it with the world because I think it's mandatory. It's
amazing.
It's almost like our day would not be complete if I did not share this.
Go ahead. It's great.
This absolute madness that this douche nozzle All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh my.
Thousands. Let's see what they find. I wouldn't be surprised if they found thousands and thousands and thousands of votes. So we're going to watch that very closely. And after that, you'll watch Pennsylvania, and you watch Georgia, and you're going to watch Michigan and Wisconsin, and you're watching New Hampshire. They found a lot of votes up in New Hampshire just now. You saw that? Because this was a rigged election, everybody knows it, and we're going to be watching it very closely.
They're not even cheering.
Look, it's on.
They're like, "What the hell is this?"
This.
It's on all over the place because everyone's talking about yesterday front page of the New York Times. They didn't want to write it, but that's because they thought they were going to have a negative decision, and the judge gave us a positive decision. Then let's see.
What? Wait, what?
Okay, first of all, let's get real here, Mona. Mona, I have a question for you. How long have you been a stand-up comic? How long have you been performing in public?
But a little over 10 years.
Okay. How long do you reckon I've been a professional musician playing in saloons, if you had to guess?
I'm gonna say, I don't know, 15 years.
More like 40 to 45.
Oh, okay.
Since I was in my 20s. Yeah, I'm an old man, you know. So if you were telling jokes and that audience was reacting to you the way they were reacting to Trump, how would you feel on the inside, honestly, Momo? Would you think that maybe the thought would be kind of traipsing through your brain, ambling down the little road saying, "I'm bombing. Ring-a-ding-ding. I'm going right into the shithouse on this one. These people are dead. I'm playing at Mount Rushmore. This is a goldfish bowl. Nobody's reacting. I want to lie down, get into a fetal position, and sob like an infant because I'm not funny." Okay.
Johnny, I do that before every live stream. Like, that's literally how I prep for every live stream. In the fetal position. Crying.
Oh, they have to love me or else. No, yeah. It's like, I'm looking at this. First of all, what the hell is wrong with his posture? It's almost.
He wears lifts, don't you know? He wears lifts, so his ass is always sticking out.
It looks like, you know, like he had just come from a skiing lesson, and it's like, I got to keep my head over the tips. Got to keep my head and got to keep the tip out of the fence. But I got to keep. Yeah.
See, I always think he always looks like he wants to take a giant poop. That's what he looks like.
No, that's not. No, what he looks like is this. If a surgeon removed all the little apparatuses from a coat rack, a surgeon does that, takes the coat rack, gets a gallon of Astroglide and smears it up and down the whole coat rack and jams it up Trump's ass past the UV ray that he used for his COVID, all the way up his ass, and then gives him a shove, right? And he goes out there with this coat rack up his ass, right? Because that's what he looks like. It's like you look at him and you go like, what the hell is wrong with his spine? It's like, all I can see now is the scarecrow singing, "If I only had a brain."
Johnny, I just think the coat rack would slide in a little too easy in his ass. You know, let's be real. Putin's been there one too many times. And
hey, you know, Thursday is pegging night at Mar-a-Lago.
You know it. Hey, bring on the golden showers, bitches. What's happening?
Oh, you're not well. But yeah, no, I mean, look,
Johnny, I got to tell you something. You know this.
Look, I'm standing up there, right, and I'm banging out whatever ridiculous song I'm banging out, and this audience is watching me, and they're going like, "Well, I wonder if the buffet is ready yet. I wonder if they've restocked the bud. You know, I need to go out for a smoke. You know." In other words, I don't have to be here for this. I'm looking at this, and it's like, this is at Mar-a-Lago. This is the resort that this guy owns, okay? He does make appearances, so this is not a total surprise. These are people who know who he is. He was the president of the United States, unfortunately, but he was, okay? And he's up there, and ring-a-ding-ding, he's dying. He's dying. If I was talking to him, I would say, like, you got to work on your act. It's like you lost them right away, But what I would also tell him, assuming anybody can get through to him at all, is I would tell him, dude, it's really simple, okay? You lost. You didn't win. Biden beat you. You lost. You lost to a 78-year-old man who barely made a single campaign appearance and, as a Democrat, didn't have anybody going door to door for him. One of the reasons the Republicans did so well in the 2020 elections is they didn't care about COVID. They go knock on your door and say, go vote for Donald Trump. Go vote for, whomever, Joni Ernst, whoever was running, the senator from Iowa. Or Lindsey Graham, vote for Lindsey Graham,
Right.
But the Democrats were like, not going to do this. This is a goddamn pandemic. No, it's like, you don't bother people, Yeah. But nobody has any courage when it comes to Donald Trump. If I had Donald Trump's phone number, right, and I'd call him up and I'd go, look, man, you didn't win. Okay. You lost. Okay. You are negatively perceived by 2/3 of the United States. As we speak, your approval rating is presently 28 points lower than Joe Biden's. Okay. It's bad. This is what I would suggest that you do. You don't bring up the election again. Okay. Because you just come across as a baby and a sore loser. Okay. Look, I'm a big sports fan, as you well know.
And your point is, those are facts. Those are two facts that you just
I know. Look,
baby and a loser.
A baby and a loser. Okay, yesterday I'm watching the ball game. The Celtics are playing the Portland Trailblazers. That's basketball. No. And at the end of the game, I think the Celtics.
Thank you for the immigrant lessons that I'm getting today. I really appreciate this free course today. Yes, please proceed.
So they have basketball in Pakistan.
No, but I've been in America long enough to know.
Do. They do too.
They don't wear basketball. No, cricket. Our game is squash and cricket. Those are the two things we kill in.
And soccer.
But the third one, I was going to say violence, but go ahead.
Or at this point, sitting around and laughing at your neighbors who are being destroyed by the coronavirus.
Horrible.
That's the other big spoiler. Pakistan's getting creamed too.
Pakistan is totally getting screwed, but they're not going to release those numbers. Like, listen, the Prime Minister of Pakistan just came out a few weeks ago and said that the reason women get raped is because of the way they dress. This is where we're at. This is the head of state who made a statement. This is where we're at, Johnny. So, yeah, is Pakistan killing it? Yeah, killing its own people. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
And in India too. And nobody can understand what's wrong with. I'll tell you what's wrong with India.
Modi's worse than Trump. That's what's wrong.
First of all, it is a gigantic country with a hugely dispersed population.
That's right.
For one. Secondly, unlike China, the Indian government doesn't quite have as much power. The Chinese government is very autocratic. The Indian government recognizes we have some severe limitations here,
Yes.
And we have too many people, and most of them don't really agree on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And because one of the biggest industries in India is the export of pharmaceuticals, instead of changing and gearing up for vaccines and vaccinating the 2 billion people who live there, however many there are, it's like, we can't do that. It's like we make, billions of dollars a year selling Tylenol or manufacturing Tylenol and selling it. We're not going to do this. It's like, and you see footage now from Mumbai and from other major cities.
It is heartbreaking, Johnny. It's
insane. And Biden is now, look, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, we don't want them anymore. Just send them to India so people can, they're one-shot vaccines, or AstraZeneca, maybe 2, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you can get 100 million Indians, vaccinated in the next month, it might start to slow stuff down. But the problem is this. You've been in India, right? You've been there.
I have not.
No, never been. Okay.
They won't let me in because I'm Pakistani. So
really?
They don't let Pakistanis in. They have
Oh,
the government. The Pakistanis don't let Indians in. Indians don't let Pakistanis in. They're a bunch of buffoons, both sides.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Public sanitation in India is really bad. Okay.
Mhm.
And the water supply is not good. And that's a real problem because what happens in India, even the natives, there are enormously high rates of dysentery. Then they have to go to the hospital and then they're exposed to COVID, and that's that, So it's a terrible situation over there, but it speaks volumes about having an autocratic, greedy, corrupt leader like Modi is in India, or Bolsonaro is in Brazil, or Trump was here. The thing is in America is that you have people who will not believe anything in the negative about Donald Trump, or to a lesser degree Republicans. If you point out to them, look, there's no way on earth you can tell me with a straight face that the federal government in 2020 had a comprehensive plan to deal with the pandemic. There was nothing, like zero. We've talked about this before. For example, when the CEO of Pfizer goes to you and says, this will be ready in about 4 or 5 months, we'll sell you 100 million doses. Okay.
Yep.
If Hillary Clinton had been president of the United States, she would have said, no, 200 million.
Right.
And then gone to the CEO of Pfizer. Okay, we want 200 million. Then says, okay, math says that's 200 million people in America. That's 2/3 of the population.
Right.
Let's build the infrastructure now for this, and warn people up to the idea the vaccine is coming. The vaccine. If Trump had had any sense at all, he would have said the vaccine will be here this winter, and anybody over the age of 30. Say, if you knew that you had 200 million people you could vaccinate, anybody over 30 can get it. Okay, sign up for it now. Made a big production out of it, but he didn't do it.
Right.
I mean, I have theories that they couldn't figure out how to monetize it. They couldn't figure out how to monopolize it.
That's right.
But look at what's happened. It's the 3rd day of May. Okay, in the United States right now, there have been 315 million doses of vaccine distributed, since the 20th of December, and almost entirely under the Biden administration. It is said that we will not have herd immunity in America because a quarter of the population will not get vaccinated. But this is also a fact. That quarter of the population is going to be exposed to the coronavirus in the next 6 months because everything in America is reopening. Okay.
Right.
So what will happen is you got the jab, right? You're set.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I got J&J Johnson.
You got the one, and I got Moderna. So I got them both, and it was 17 days ago. Okay, 16, 17 days ago. So I'm free. I can do whatever I want.
We're good.
So can you. Okay.
Yep.
And my wife got both jabs. My son got one jab. The 18-year-old, the 15-year-old. Pfizer has applied for 12 to 16-year-olds a juvenile dose of coronavirus, so he's going to get the jab pretty soon. We have no problem with this.
There's a different dosage for teenagers and for young people? There's a different...
Yeah, that's probably smaller. Yeah.
They
don't, for one thing, they don't need as much. I would theoretically need a larger dose than you because I'm considerably older than you are. My immune system needs more of a... Because it's
right.
My immune system has no interest in keeping me alive.
Right. Or if you're immune compromised, you need that. Like you need more of a dosage. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not immune compromised. I am incredibly, insanely healthy. I don't know how that happened, but it's true.
Thank God for that.
So what we're talking about here is if the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic by June or July, in about 6 weeks, say, or if you want to go even further out than that to the 4th of July, to Independence Day, at that point, over 60% of Americans will have had at least one shot. Okay. And undoubtedly, because of children getting the jab at that point, it'll be more, At that point, when you start to see at Dodger Stadium, they'll let in 3,000 people now to a game.
Yeah.
If they say, let's lift the limit to 15,000. Every other seat is empty. And then maybe by September, we'll go to full capacity,
Right.
or if the Lakers make the finals, say, like, let's, let Staples be half full.
Right.
Once people in America start to see life return to normal, and this is accompanied by the idea that, say, my 18-year-old son, if the infrastructure bill passes, let's say that there is a job for him working on the power grid somewhere in the West, so in California, Colorado, Arizona, somewhere, at $24 an hour, and say he's just not that interested in going to school. $24 an hour is $960 a week. That's not too bad. Oh, okay. And for a young man, that's pretty good. And let's say he doesn't want to go to college. It's like in the infrastructure bill, 90% of the jobs that it creates require a high school diploma. That's pretty much, and training. That's pretty much it. And the reason that this is really a fantastic thing is that there is a paradigm in America where you cannot get a lucrative profession without a postgraduate degree from college, which means that you enter life in debt up to your nostrils. Now, if you have some kind of a gig where you are building solar farms or wind farms, or you're building high-speed rail between Los Angeles and San Diego, say, you make $24 to $28 an hour, you're doing okay. And now the middle class is rebuilt. Because Biden in the State of the Union speech pointed out that, look, it's not the rich trickling down onto people that does anything. It's when you have working people that make enough money that they can buy property, say, then you have a decent economy. Then you have a middle. Which, by the way, the middle class in America hasn't even existed 100 years. Really, it was a creation in the 40s.
I mean, really. Johnny, I feel like because of the pandemic, I feel like the middle class has really taken a beating, and I think a lot of people have went from middle to poor. Like they've gone to a much poorer class than they were before because, man, people ate through their savings. They had to feed their families. They had to keep a roof over their head. I mean, it's rough.
We did. Yeah,
I was talking to a finance guy, and he told me straight out. He goes, a lot of people don't want to accept it or don't realize, but we are in the middle of a recession. We are in the middle of a recession. But because the pandemic is this giant overriding massive problem, people are not even focused. They're like, all right, we have some stimulus checks coming in. We have, some help coming in. But I mean, we literally are in the middle of a recession.
Okay. Technically, we aren't. All right, because there is positive economic growth. Yes. However, the thing is that it's not a sustainable recovery unless you start doing things that are based in the work of the future as opposed to propping up the industries of the past that don't work anymore. Look, here's the classic example is in Texas. Okay. Texas lives and dies by oil and natural gas. But guess what? The largest renewable energy sector in America is in Texas. It's like they know this is coming. Maybe you'd have to get them drunk or give them ecstasy or weed or something to admit it. But fossil fuel extractors, you sit down with them and go, you do know you've only got about 6-7 years left of profitability. If that, they'll be like, yeah, we know. Yeah, and they'll go like, and there's, you can elect another Republican president. They can't protect us. It just isn't going to work because Republican president's president of the United States, not president of the world. If the rest of the world decides all renewable from here on in, man, that's it. That's it. If you were, Xi in China, I don't know if you have ever seen a videotape of what China looks like. It's disgusting. The air is black. You have traffic jams in Shanghai at 3:30 in the morning. Okay, their infrastructure is too small, and even despite the fact they don't have near the number of cars we do per capita, it's like it's just not built for it, and the cars pollute like crazy, and there's crap in the air, and the rates of cancer are insane. Plus, in China, The average Chinese person is 7, 8 years older than the average American. Why? Because in America, guess what we do that they don't do in China? We let in immigrants. So, I was looking the other day. I know I'm talking too much. I'm sorry, but I am.
No, Johnny, that's what I love about you.
That I never shut up.
Yeah, precisely.
So you don't have to say anything. Give the old boy some caffeine and he'll go. It's like I'm like the Energizer idiot, right? Just wind me up.
Idiot is not the word I would ever use to describe you, Johnny Wendell. I do, however, I wanted to share a couple of things. I don't know if you heard, but in UK they did a test run of a concert of 3,000 people who showed up. They had to prove that they were COVID tested or they were COVID negative. That was they needed that 3,000. So now they want to see if there's going to be an outbreak from it, and if there's, so let's see what's going to happen. And I wonder, look, everything is opening up. Like Vegas is pretty much come June 1st, it's full on. Like it's not that far. June in less than a month, Vegas is going to be full on, right? Arizona, a lot of the other states are a lot more open. I think New York and California, California has the lowest rates of COVID in the world, in the country right now, which is great.
And by the way, where in California are the rates lower than they are anywhere else in California?
LA County, is it?
Yeah. How many fatalities did we have yesterday from COVID in LA County?
I don't know. I think the last time I checked, it was like 65, if I'm not mistaken, or could be less. Zero.
We hit zero. Yes.
Wow, impressive.
And people ask me, why do you think that is? And I say, because people in LA, it's so hard to live here. It's, the weather is nice. That's the easy part of living here. But it's a very difficult place to live because everything is so far away from everything else. And generally, most people have to travel for their work. And the traffic is abominable. And the infrastructure is just overtaxed. And
and the Botox is expensive. And the Botox is very expensive.
And the Botox, it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, not the Botox, but Botox, but sure.
The Botox. They taxed my bow.
They taxed my bow.
They taxed my bow. Don't ask me what my bow is.
Don't ask me. Yanni, this is a little bit off topic, but it is related to this. So I'm a big History Channel buff. I don't know if you are a big history fan. I'm a huge history buff. So I discovered, because I'm an idiot, that and with my Hulu Premium Supreme channel, or whatever the fuck I pay for, that I have access to the History Channel. And I was like, I'm going to watch this day and night. I must watch the History Channel. I love the History Channel. So I started watching the show called The Nostradamus Effect. Now, if you have not watched the show, you have to watch the show. It is so good, and it's done. And they show both opposing points of views, which I love. So Nostradamus, if you guys don't know, is known as the greatest, philosopher that ever lived, or not even, if he's not even philosopher, more like a,
he wasn't a philosopher.
Future teller, more like a future telling guy.
He was a futurist, yes.
Futurist. He had visions, and he would write them down.
He predicted the future. The thing is if you read Nostradamus' stuff, you're like, this can only be interpreted about 300 different ways. It's like he covered his bases. He was smart. He did cover his base,
but he accurately predicted. So he predicted that there are 3 antichrists. The first antichrist was Napoleon, which he accurately predicted, according to the experts. The second antichrist was Hitler, which he also accurately predicted. And he said that the third antichrist is going to be in America, and he's going to learn from the mistakes of Napoleon and of Hitler, and will cause a hunger, feast, and famine, and blood will spill for 27-year war that he is going to cause. So some people believe that Saddam Hussein was the Antichrist, which I don't believe. But however, I believe that Trump is the Antichrist. How do you feel about that, Johnny?
Well, for one thing, thanks for planting the song "Anarchy in the UK" in my head.
Okay.
If you don't know why that is, it's because the first line of the song is "I am the Antichrist." Okay. So
wow.
That's why
Okay.
it's stuck in my head. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, other than that, if Donald Trump is certainly the Antichrist by behavior. Christ of the New Testament was a generous, loving, selfless person with a profound disregard for money changers.
And not obese. He wasn't obese. He was definitely in shape. But please, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't even know where that came from, but that's okay.
I mean, it's relative.
Yeah, no, it's. What would he get fat on back then? Okay, nothing. So, anyway,
right. A lot of walking taking place.
He had a lot of walking, and he was carrying a lot of baggage, as it were, on these long walks of his.
Yeah,
so.
Emotional.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I won't. As far as I'm concerned, it's unlikely that there was ever actually anybody like Jesus Christ. There are so many fables and myths that have been woven into this character that existed long before he was born.
Yeah.
Plus if you read Shakespeare reads a lot like the Bible, the same kind of parables and tales. It's universal. I wouldn't ascribe any power of any kind to Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is to stupid white men of a certain age. He's what we call a tabula rasa. Do you know what that is? You know what tabula rasa? Okay, it means blank slate. It means that you can project anything you want onto this fat, orange-faced, ugly son of a bitch from Queens. Okay, he's it's like the Depeche Mode song, "Your Own Personal Jesus." Your own personal Jesus.
Oh, yes. That song I know. I know that song by Depeche Mode, yes.
Oh, okay. The gist of the Depeche Mode song is, I can be anything you want me to be, because that's what Christ was, whatever you wanted him to be. And I think Donald Trump's followers imbue this idiot with all kinds of supernatural powers and skills that he doesn't have. I mean, the fact of the matter is a genius businessman doesn't go bankrupt that many times. A genius businessman, banks line up to loan you money because you're not a risk, as opposed to loan him money. I'd sooner set my fucking testicles in a jar full of starving piranhas than give that prick another nickel. Okay, because we're never going to get it back. You like that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
That one's going to be in her act in a few weeks when she opens in Vegas in June.
It was like a callback. It was a callback to the cucumber joke that we did earlier, but please go ahead.
Mona Shake and her starving testicle act.
The starving testicle. Mona Shake and Johnny Wendell's starving testicle act. Jesus.
Can you imagine?
How did it go from Jesus to testicles? What happened here? This is too much of a jump. I don't think Jesus would approve of this.
It was a ballsy move. Anyway,
that's great, Johnny. Glad
big stagey laugh there.
Yes.
Anyone who's listening to this thing is like my patience has been tested. Okay. I look at it like this.
It's a testy situation, but go ahead. Yes. It's too much. What do you want? What do you want, Johnny? Can't be talking to a comic and give me the shit and then not expect me to say nothing. Like, come on. Oh, God.
Mona, if you keep it up, I'm going to have to give you the sack. Didn't think I'd get the last word now, did you?
Johnny, you'll always get the last word.
No, I don't. Anyway, okay. Back to truth. Okay, the fact is that
back to truth.
From
testicle to truth. Okay, all right.
Okay, this will come at you like a kick in the nuts. But the fact is, though, is that we're in the first week of May.
Yeah.
And Trump is not in the news anymore. And that the fact that he was amputated unceremoniously from Twitter and I guess now Facebook pretty much and Instagram.
Yeah.
He has his musings, his 290 character musings They don't exist. And by the way, every time he tries to start up a bogus account, Jack shuts him down. They go in, this is Trump. Boom, he's done. It got so bad they opened up their own version of it, Parler, which is supposed to be parlay, but they don't know that. It's Parler, right?
Stupid.
I'm just as bad. I'm terrible. I'm watching the ball game yesterday. The Celtics with this guard they got from Orlando, Evan Fournier. He's French, Fournier. I'm looking at him and going, come on, Fournier, throw the damn ball in the hoop. I'm just as bad as they are. Come on, Fournier. And it's just like...
Sorry, Fournier or Hornier? Sorry.
I don't know. In the backyard, we have these hopping things called thorny toads. Who knows?
Okay. Not to be confused with fornication, but yeah.
Which makes you wonder what five-nication would be like.
Yeah, because that's what the Muslim terrorists are going for, not the four, the fives.
Five-nication. Yeah.
The five nications. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a joke in there somewhere. Okay, like if you took a shovel and a pickaxe and you went in the mine shaft that joke is down, eventually you would drop a bucket down and the joke would come up and it'd be funny as hell.
Yeah.
But as of now, no. Okay.
I would say that the balls are rolling on that, but go ahead, Johnny. I'm listening.
No, you used that one already. That's not cool.
It's fine. It's called a callback, but go ahead.
No. Anyway.
This is so much fun, Johnny.
I don't think that people care as much about him as he wishes they did. And it's not just because of social media. He's not the president of the United States anymore. And secondly, he wore out his welcome. To an awful lot of people, the idea that you would have somebody whose sole purpose as the commander-in-chief in the United States is to own the libs, to a lot of people who aren't even libs, they're like, Dick Cheney's daughter, Liz Cheney, who's a congressperson from Wyoming, who's constantly butting heads with them now.
Yeah.
Who says, no, I'd never vote for him again. I want him to be thrown in prison. It's like Liz Cheney comes out and she goes, this guy repeating this big lie thing is not exactly good for those of us who, are trying to pass laws.
Right.
And the Republican Party's looking at this woman going, you got to shut her up. She's going to destroy the scam. Because what's going to happen with Liz Cheney is this. They're going to try to run somebody against her next year in Wyoming.
Yep.
I have news for you. Running against a Cheney in Wyoming is like running against a Kennedy in Massachusetts. It's like running against a DuPont in Delaware. Okay. You just don't do it. It's not going to work. For one thing, Wyoming is a very, very conservative Republican state. But it has a really, really strong streak of libertarianism. And they like the idea that she says, James, she's not in a leadership position. She's third in line in the minority party. And I'm not going to go out on a limb and say the Democrats will retain the House next year. I don't know. History says they won't. But on the other hand, the Republicans, what we started the show with here, when you were asking me about, is bipartisanship dead? And I told you there's no percentage in them cooperating. The problem is there's no percentage in them cooperating according to their base, but according to like the average person, okay, some of whom can be persuaded to vote in midterms now, okay, to the average person, they don't like the idea of this situation. Their idea is, look, you can make all the claims you want about uncooperative, stringent, impossible, intractable Democrats, okay? But we can see that the Democrats are fairly broad in their scope. You have people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and AOC, Presley and Cory Bush and Bernie and Elizabeth Warren on the far left, and you have Manchin and Kirsten Sinema on the right, and that's a broad party. In the Republican Party, there are certain things you have to follow orthodoxy-wise, or they're going to kick you out. James got a point that there may be so much pressure to kick Liz Cheney off of her perch as the number 3 person in the Republican caucus. Yeah. The problem is that 70 to 75 members of the House, like her, and may simply tell Kevin McCarthy, stow it. We're tired of this. This guy, this guy's word doesn't travel as far as it used to. He doesn't like Liz Cheney. Well, you know what? It's like the average American saw what happened on January 6th. They agree with her. So it's not like what she's saying is that radical. She's not a liberal. Right. I see, by the way, I don't know if we were going to talk about this or not. In Cheney's neighboring state, in Utah, the Republican Party had a convention in Utah this weekend. And one of the main speakers was Mitt Romney, who was a senator from Utah. Okay. The former governor of Massachusetts, ran for president in 2012. Okay. He's a senator from Utah now. He gets up there and half the people are booing at the top of their lungs. And some people are cheering. Yeah. And Mitt was a little thrown, and his comebacks were weak. He's like, he fell back on
He needed a comedian, Johnny. That's what he needed. He needed better comebacks.
No. We're going back to our favorite topic here. He needed a set of fucking cojones. He needed some balls. He needed some bite seam. He didn't have any. Okay. Yeah. If I'm Mitt Romney, they're booing me. I go, you're booing me? Yeah. I'm a bishop in your goddamn church, for starters. Secondly, you're booing me? You are the right of the right in this state. I have news for you, assholes. If I decide to become an independent and caucus with Schumer, or I flip to becoming a Democrat, you think I care? I'm 73 years old. I know I'm not going to be president now, and I've had it with you. You are rude to my family. You are rude to my wife. You are rude to me. Yeah, damn right I voted to impeach Donald Trump. He's a fucking criminal, and you people are a bunch of fucking morons. I'm becoming a Democrat. Okay, he doesn't have that kind of balls also to become a Democrat in Utah is the end of his political career, but and they might try to recall him or arrest him or something crazy, Right. But fact is,
he has to give all those kids away because he has like 10 of them or something.
He's 11 children, right?
Wow.
He has a lot of them.
Somebody forgot to pull out. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a lot. He's 6 or 7 kids. I don't think he has.
Still forgot to pull out. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, whatever. He does only have one wife, though. Okay, so he's doing okay as Mormons go.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But I mean, you see stuff like that. They're booing Mitt Romney in Utah. It's like, why are they booing this guy? He votes straight Republican ticket 95% of the time. You know why they booed him? Because he voted to impeach Trump twice.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
That they couldn't put up with. In other words, and the same thing with Liz Cheney, and she would say he broke the law. That's why I voted to impeach him. He broke the law.
Correct.
Meanwhile, now the Republicans are finding that it is true that when in primaries, there are about a dozen Republicans in the House or so that voted to impeach him. 2 of them are in Washington State, one's in Illinois. They're scattered all over the place. They're finding out in polls that the people in these districts like their reps, and they can forgive them for impeaching Trump because they like them. Okay. And if you replace them with some Trump-loving nut, what happens in a general election? You run some innocuous Democrat. The innocuous Democrat gets 54% of the vote. Okay. So this doesn't turn out so well for them,
Johnny, can I ask you something?
The booing of Romney and the mistreatment of Liz Cheney is
what it is, Johnny?
It's ridiculous.
But when I listen about... Yeah,
it's
you're right. Yes. But Johnny, I think you and I have had these multiple conversations here about Trump and, Republicans. I feel ever since Trump came into power, and even though he lost, Republicans have somehow developed this insecurity that they will never be able to gain this level of popularity or this level of votes if it wasn't for Trump. So it's almost like they're just like, but you're like the God. You're the one who gets it. So whatever you want, Mr. God.
Okay. Yes, it is true that he got more votes than any other Republican in history. That is a fact. It is true, and this is according to a Democrat, no less, Senator from Pennsylvania, Casey. He said, in rural Pennsylvania, he said, this guy is a god. It's like I've never seen somebody who's so unshakable with these people. And he's like, I don't get it. He said, I mean, he's certainly not a man of the people. Look at him,
But people believe that he's man of the people. And that's the fucked up part.
Consider this. There is a factor in him getting 74 million votes that nobody seems to want to talk about, but kind of makes an awful lot of sense if you think about it. Okay, he got 74 million votes. Biden got what? 81 million something. There were 157 million votes. Okay, why did so many people vote on November 3rd, 2020? Want to know one of the big reasons, and nobody brings this up? We're in a pandemic and there isn't fuck all else to do. Okay. So this is something I can occupy my mind and time with.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Republicans went so all out to try to deprive people of their votes in Pennsylvania, especially, made them want to vote that much more. So when you see that, well, Trump got 74 million votes, you look at them and you go, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's not like Biden got the same number of votes as Hillary did and Trump beat him by 8 million votes. That's, Hillary got 66, 67 million votes.
Yeah.
Biden got 81,200,000 something. Okay. That's an astonishing number. Okay. What that says is that 1 out of every 4 Americans, not 1 out of every 4 voters, 1 out of every 4 Americans voted for Joseph Biden. Okay. And yeah, he didn't beat Trump by an enormous number, but there's a second factor that a lot of people do not accept, which is that Trump was the incumbent president of the United States. It gave him a natural advantage. He has the soapbox. He certainly made it as difficult as possible for Democrats to vote. But ultimately, by making such a production out of voter fraud, he destroyed the political careers of David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Because in Georgia, in northwestern Georgia, Republicans wouldn't come out to vote. They go, Donald Trump said this is rigged and it's fake. I'm not going to do it. The Democrats were looking at the results when they came in. You say, we won the Senate. How did we win it? We won it because of Donald Trump. 2 things. 1, black people hate this guy. They came out in record numbers because they know he hates them, so they hate him back.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Secondly, it's like if you look at these deep red districts, the ones that Marjorie Taylor Greene represents in the northwest corner of Georgia, it's like 5 or 6% of the people that voted on November 3rd for Trump didn't vote for Loeffler or Perdue because Trump said this is fixed. And these 2 senators didn't fight hard enough for me. And these people are like, damn right, they didn't fight hard enough. We'll show them. So meanwhile, Ossoff is going to be a senator until 2026. What's his name? Warnock is going to run again next. Warnock is going to run next year. He's going to win in a breeze. Okay, it's like if Stacey Abrams runs for governor, it's that will up. The black turnout in Georgia was unbelievably high. It'll be even higher if she runs.
What is it? 800,000? 800,000 votes? That's how many she got. Incredible.
Well, that's how, she got 880,000 new voters. Okay. Suppose you tack on 200,000 more people to that. First of all, there's that. Second of all, we've talked about this on this show, is that one of the results of COVID is that a lot of African Americans who live in cities in the North, they're cashing out. Their homes are worth a lot more than what they paid for them, or their parents or their grandparents paid for. They cash out. You've got some house in the suburbs of Chicago. It's worth $350,000 that your grandfather paid $8,000 for. You leave. Sure. Where do you go? Georgia. You got a job in IT or something, you can do it from anywhere. So you go to Georgia, you go live in the Atlanta suburbs, 15 miles outside of one of the blackest cities in America. You're like, fine, I'm with people that are like me.
That's right.
Okay. Mona, it's like, you've been in Detroit before, right?
I have not been to Detroit.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Detroit. Okay. Just outside of Detroit.
I did watch 8 Mile, though. Does that count with Eminem, about Eminem's life? Does that? Okay, it doesn't count. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. The point you were making.
Why am I doing this again? Why am I here? Who am I? No, outside of Detroit is Dearborn, Michigan.
Because you've been tried and tested, Johnny, and I've been tried and tested. Yes, that's true.
It was a
Sorry,
hairy
so-
situation, but
It was
I
a hairy
wiggled
situation.
out of that.
Listen,
I wiggled out of that.
That's right.
It swung my way.
Yeah. Now we can stop shafting the topic and just get to it. So sorry, we'll
just put it in a package somewhere and mail it. Yeah.
put it in a package. Yeah.
Yeah. We can't leave people hanging like this.
No, you can't.
Anyway, okay.
That was a low hanging fruit there, Johnny. But go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, Detroit. This is
Dearborn, Michigan is right outside of. It's 35% Muslim. Okay.
Yes.
You figure like in America there will come a certain point where people will say, I want to live among people that are like me. The idea that I go somewhere because it's the land of plenty, and then I end up, with just like George Floyd. I don't want that. I want to live with my people. I was watching can't remember where the news item came from that flabbergasted me. My wife couldn't believe this either. The fastest growing Asian population in any American city. You'll never guess where it is. I couldn't believe. I was like, what? And apparently it's true. Fargo, North Dakota.
What?
Yeah. Asians are moving there by the Asians are moving there like crazy. Why? Because it's cheap. The fracking in North Dakota is starting to die, so they need new businesses and new industries. And also, as anybody who understands the migration of people from Asia to the United States understand, is that Asians who are here help their families back in Korea and Taiwan and Bangladesh, Thailand, Myanmar, Indonesia to come over here. They help them out. They go like, there's these in North Dakota. I don't know what the businesses would be, but building windmills. Okay, it is very windy up there on the prairie. They go like, let's corner the market. The way the Koreans cornered the greengrocer market in New York. It's the same thing. It's like they figure this is an opportunity for us. I got to tell you something. If the state of North Dakota eventually becomes 15-20% Asian and 15-20% Native American, guess what it becomes? Democratic. Okay. And North Dakota is one of the most reliably Republican states in the United States. It is very Republican. Okay. But, you get Asians moving in. Asians are 4-1, 5-1 Democrats at this point.
I mean, that's what happened to Orange County. Yeah, that's what happened to Orange County. That's how Orange County ended up going blue, because such a big Asian population in Orange County.
And also that the cities became, like Santa Ana and Anaheim, became overwhelmingly Latino. That had a lot to do with it. But I want to relate something. Then we probably got to end this.
Yeah, we got to then wrap up.
There's a local story here in Silver Lake. For people who don't know what that is, Silver Lake is a neighborhood about 5 minutes outside downtown LA.
It's where the hipsters live. All the hipsters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the expression most people come up with when they look at my face. Oh, a hipster. What do you think? I rode in here on a unicycle and it just shaved off my mustache and my Rasputin beard. That this is an artisanal Aerosmith t-shirt.
You just made that this morning. You just made your shirt this morning to wear it for this live stream, Johnny.
No, I actually did get it from Aerosmith themselves. They made us a care package during the pandemic because we needed new t-shirts, so they sent us a bunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently, according to the Facebook page of Silver Lake Echo Park in Los Feliz, or Feliz, depending how you want to pronounce it, we have just about a mile from here, a couple have moved into an apartment building they've decided that they want to be as provocative as possible. So they've rolled out a gigantic Trump banner out their window. You can see the Confederate battle flag, the stars and bars hanging in their kitchen. And they walk the streets of Silver Lake with T-shirts on that say, "Fuck China." Okay. Now, naturally, this has set off a reaction here in Silver Lake, especially in people who live over in that little enclave. Where they are is the heart of upper middle class on some streets, Latino and Cambodian immigrants on other streets, and hipsters. Okay. This is a neighborhood that's 85 to 90% Bernieville or Bidenville now. Biden is actually doing fairly well with those people now. Okay.
Yeah.
And so my friends on Facebook are like, what do we do about this? And I'm like, nothing. What they are craving. And what is the kicker of this? The woman in the couple, she's Asian. I don't know. She doesn't appear to be Chinese, but she is Asian. Okay.
Huh.
So, but the guy is like a standard issue white knucklehead from the burbs. Okay. So he and his lady friend, I don't know if she's his wife or not. They're all this right-wing nonsense. And it's like, look, they're trying to provoke you into doing something to them so that two things happen. One, he gets on Fox News. That's what he wants. He wants to be the persecuted guy who went into the liberal wilderness of Silver Lake to hold up the banner of Donald Trump in this heathen paradise, right? Secondly, he wants to sue you. Okay, because that's litigation is how they make lots of money. How do you think the Westboro Baptist Church survived all these years? They'd have they'd pick at somebody's funeral. Somebody'd be like, screw these people, attack them, boom, they get sued. That's how they stay afloat. This asshole and his know-nothing banana of a girlfriend, and you know what a banana is, don't you? Yeah, she's yellow
like
on the white outside. Yeah, she's yellow on the white outside, white on the inside. She's a Twinkie.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
What Banana Twinkie lady and her boyfriend want is to be able to sue somebody. They want a Johnny type to confront them on the street and go, you're going to change your shirt, or I'm going to take it off you. I'm going to wrap it around your goddamn face. I'm going to choke you. And just before you go out, I will let you go because I'm not Derek Chauvin. I'm not that goddamn stupid.
He sounds like he might be into the choking, though, Johnny. I mean, for someone to wear that shirt like that.
Assuming he doesn't get invited to Melania's pegging nights, that's true. Yes.
He sounds like a little bitch. Yeah. But
But here's the thing. He's craving the attention, and you should see some of this stuff. And my wife will back me up on this because she goes to what's the name of it? It's the neighborhood thing, the neighborhood app. There's a neighborhood app for
Citizen. You talking about Next Door Neighbor?
Yes, Next Door. Next Door.
Yeah.
During the election, 2020, like every bootlicking, cult-worshipping, repulsive Republican came out of the woodwork to offer their half a cent worth of opinion on Nextdoor app. And you would see the amazing stuff from these people, Now this comes up on Facebook, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, he wants to be on OAN. He wants to be on Newsmax. He wants to be on Fox. He wants to be a hero. And Twinkie probably wants to sue somebody. Yeah. Yeah. So I've been trying to I'm in Facebook jail right now. I'm not allowed to post on Facebook. So I get out of it, I guess, in about an hour.
Why did you get put in Facebook jail?
A friend of mine put up a thread, and I responded with a quote from Mo from the Three Stooges, which said, "Remind me to murder you later." That's something that Mo said to Larry in a Three Stooges short. That triggered their algorithm. Murder. Boom. So I'm banned for a week. So as soon as as soon as I serve my time, I got to go on this thread, and I got to go, folks, ignore these people. Ignore them. And on this thread, to people who sympathize with these, you're suckers. Do you understand? All this guy wants to do is go on Fox News, and all they want to do is sue somebody and get a free ride. You people are so dumb. Your leaders are lying grifters. You peons are crazy. You're so easy to manipulate. It's like, good luck. By the way, we got to close with this. There are a lot of things you can say about people on the left. Okay. Plenty of which are extraordinarily negative. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is way harder to fool a lefty than a righty, because lefties question everything. Okay. Righties don't question anybody who sounds like an authority figure with a booming voice, white skin, and a tiny penis. They'll listen to. Well, I don't know about that, but they'll listen to them. It came out of nowhere. I just kind of pulled that out of the fence,
It's fine, Johnny. It's fine.
But you know what I mean.
There's
It's
a Freudian slip. We get it. It's fine.
No, but it's like this. These are the people who crave monarchies and aristocracies, and people on the left are like, we don't like that. Okay,
right.
These are the kinds of people who think that Jair Bolsonaro is a great hero because he's telling.
He's a piece of shit, is what the fuck he is.
Yeah, but I mean, what's happening in Brazil is that COVID is going through the roof. The country.
Johnny, did you hear what he did? He went on national television because people were taking it to the streets. People were complaining. Right. They're calling. They're like, "Yo, our relatives are dying left and right." There was this one lady that was being interviewed. She was like, "My brother was fine." We know that once he goes into this ER, he's never coming back. I know the people who go in, they never come out alive. So there were a lot of people crying and complaining, like, do something. And boy, what did Bolsonaro say on national television? Shut your whining. In Portuguese. Stop whining.
Right. What did Trump say? It is what it is. Okay. It's like
it was going to disappear magically. Remember, Johnny, when it was going to just disappear?
There were 15. There were only 15 cases. It'll magically disappear like it wasn't even here.
Ugly fuck got his fucking shot when he left the fucking White House. Him and his fucking male pride.
Okay. Here's the deal. He told Bob Woodward verbatim. He goes, "This is serious,
That's right.
Woodward is like, so why don't you go public with it? You're the president. Oh, I don't want that. That'll scare people. In other words, they won't vote for me. If I act like a human being, as opposed to this talisman that right-wing media holds up to aggravate educated people or non-white people or women, then nobody will vote for me. Then I'll be a rhino, a Republican name only, and somebody will come from my right, and I have to be that guy." He doesn't understand. Every single month, more and more Americans who are, they may have voted for Trump once, they may have voted for him twice. At this point, a lot of them are like, I don't want to be part of this anymore. This is crap.
That's
okay.
Right.
And
Johnny, the insurrectionists who Trump claimed that he was going to bail them out, now they're like, we were tricked. We were tricked.
We're fooled.
We were fooled.
Not only were they fooled, but his former attorney is now absolute. He's done. He's done. If a judge signs off on a search warrant of an attorney's home or
Giuliani's home got raided at 6 a.m. Right. That's correct.
And Victoria Tenzing too. So that's two attorneys. Too.
That's right.
And Cohen years ago, because that's 3 attorneys. It means that somebody went to a judge and said, attorney-client privilege can't exist here. These people committed major felonies. And Michael Cohen is like, ask Michael Cohen about this. And he goes,
that's right.
He said, he's screwed. He's finished. He said, I did, I had 3 years of my life.
Giuliani's finished? Is that who you mean?
Yeah.
Giuliani's finished? Oh, Giuliani's done. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah. Michael Cohen says it's over for him.
Yeah,
he's going to prison. He said, not only is he going to prison, but, if you think Biden's Justice Department is going to be lenient on him, there's no chance of that. It's like you were bought off by people who wanted Marie Yovanovitch kicked out of her job. So you invented all of this stuff because all of your rich oligarch friends in the Ukraine who are allied with Vladimir Putin said, this woman is a problem. Get rid of her. Now, all Trump had to do is fire her. Okay. Right. But he's like, I can't have my fingerprints on that knife, Rudy. You're going to have to figure out something. Rudolph Giuliani is a 77-year-old man who is in not great health. Okay. If somebody goes to him and they've kept him away from the bottle for a few days and he's starting to get the DTs, because he's one of those drunk all the time types.
Yeah.
It says you're looking at 15 years. You're going to die in prison. He'll say, what do I do? And they go, what do you mean, what do you do? You were a prosecutor. You cut zillions of these cases yourself. You do what you had other people do, namely, you start talking. You name names. You produce documents. You've got them. We've got them. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we've got all your goddamn receipts, Rudy. All you have to do is verify that they're real. And who put you up to this? How did this happen?
That's right. That's right. Who do we trace this back to?
That's
who do we trace this back to? That's
last thing before we go.
Yes.
You're a former president of the United States. You are facing 29 civil suits that are moving forward. Okay. So this idea that he's going to run again in 2024, there is no chance of that at all.
Oh, he's going to be buried before that, Johnny. I definitely have a lot of faith that he's definitely getting buried. There's no fucking way he's running 2024. That's not possible.
The only reason that he is backed, and this is the last thing we will say, and this is critical, and no cucumber or ball or Twinkie jokes.
Testes.
This is absolutely the truth. The only reason Donald Trump has any sway at all in the Republican Party, it has nothing to do with them 74 million votes, it has nothing to do with the fact that he beat Hillary Clinton, the Antichrist. What it has to do with is that Republicans are by nature constitutionally incapable of admitting admitting one thing. And Mona, what is the one thing no Republican will ever admit?
They're small penises?
No, that's that's given.
Sorry.
No, what are they? Also, you can evidence is evidence. Okay, evidence. What can no Republican ever admit? It's a 3-word expression. It's something they can never bring themselves to say. It was the name of a hit song by the band Social Distortion. Okay.
Yeah, I would really know that one, Johnny. That would be the one that I would know.
Okay, well, whatever. It was it 1996. You were off the boat by then, right?
I was. Right. I've definitely taken up the boat. Yeah.
You're off the boat.
I actually swam here, but yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, you're horrible. Anyway, no, there are 3 magic words no Republican can ever say under any circumstances because it is against their religion. And those 3 magic words are, I was wrong. Okay. Go. A Social Distortion song is really good. The name of that song. It's a great song, and it's very heartfelt. But when you think about it,
I thought the 3 words you were going to say was, is it in? That's what I thought.
Boom! And now we've gone full cycle.
But no. Okay.
No, they can't. No, those are the 3 words no Republican wants to hear, not say. There's a critical difference there. By the way, can you
Well, Matt Gaetz wants to say it to the teenagers that he's sleeping with, so
No, she asks him. She'll ask. She goes like, I'm nothing personal, Matt. I mean, it's my first time and all being 14. So
man, I'm so glad you came to the prom with me.
Really? Hey. How old are you? I'm this old. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. With Matt Gaetz, it's like it's not a question of getting them into the bed. It's a question of getting them to not jump up and down
for the bed. Exactly. It's not even a matter of getting them in the bed. It's more like locating the fucking couch is what it's about. Jesus. What a douchebag!
He's terrible. He's going to be indicted shortly too.
I cannot wait, Johnny. We're going to wrap up, my friend. We're going to wrap up. But go ahead. Say your last sentence. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's a sure bet that he's indicted.
They're all, Johnny. All of them. Anytime I hear a Republican or a conservative asshole come out and be like, trans people should not be allowed to do this, or gay people should not. They're the first ones doing that very thing they were condemning, doing the very first thing.
Here's a question for you, okay? The number 1 news topic of the last few days on Fox News has been transgender athletes, trans children as athletes. They have run 126 segments, I saw this today, on transgender children as athletes. Thanks, James. Okay, here's a question for you. How many transgender athletes as children are there in America presently competing? Do you know the number? 9.
Oh my God.
9 people. 126 segments on 9 children. Okay. And you ask, you think that a transgender child is an important issue at a time when people have been locked up in their homes for 14 months, where small businesses do not know if they're going to reopen, where we have 20 to 25% of the population who are a bunch of sick, vile, repulsive cultists that refuse to get the coronavirus vaccine because, I don't know, okay, because they won't. Because they think that you're.
I don't know what's in it.
I don't know what's in it. It's like, you know what? I don't know what's in it too, but I know where it is right now, coursing through my fucking veins. And you know why? Because I'm going to be 65 years old in June. They've been vaccinating my ass since I was 65 days old. All right, and I lived and I prospered. Okay, and yes, I'm a little odd, but I don't know as I'm on the autism spectrum. And no, I'm still male. It hasn't changed my gender. It hasn't changed my sexual preference. It hasn't done anything. It's not like they jammed the fucking vaccine in me and all of a sudden I'm eating bell peppers and shrimp, which, as my wife can attest to, I'd rather have the guillotine go through my goddamn neck than have that shit go down my throat. Okay. Nothing has changed with me. Okay. They're injecting tracking into you. Last thing, I know I've said this 100 times, last thing, and then I'm out of here. They had some guy in Orange County at a meeting, right? He's talking to a doctor and he goes, well, what is this about this tracking devices injected? This doctor's sitting there going like, there is no such thing anywhere. That's not possible. Okay, we don't know how to do something like that, let alone that we would if we could. We don't know. There are no tracking devices. If I was that doctor, I'd go, you want to know what a tracking device is that every one of your fucking constituents that's so worried should be thinking about? Their iPhone. Everybody knows where they are 100% of the time. Everybody knows what they bought off the damn thing. Everybody knows where they were. Everybody knows who you texted, who you called. Okay. Now, if you're really worried about your privacy, take a sledgehammer to your iPhone. Oh, by the way, in the modern world, you can't live without one of those things. Good freaking luck having a job. Oh, it was a real pleasure.
Johnny, always a pleasure, my friend. Today was a very fun and passionate conversation, as always. But it was a lot ballsier than usual. So thank you. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Johnny Wendell, always a pleasure, my friend. I will see you soon.
Had to get the last word.
No, Johnny, see? It's all you. It's all you.
The last word is mine?
It's all you.
Oh, I don't know. My memory's suddenly gone. All fuzzy. Bye.
Bye, Johnny. That was the lovely Johnny Wendell. Today was a really fun conversation. I think some people might have been irritated with a lot of ball talk, but that's how we roll here sometimes. You guys, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. You can go to youtube.com/Mona Sheikh Comedian, same name on TikTok and also on Facebook, and of course on Instagram and Twitter at Mona's Comedy. I will be back tomorrow with a brand new guest. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Stay safe out there.